Well, good evening. Saturday morning. Not quite 1 a.m. Got some chill music in the background. Turn up a little bit. Is that kind of cool? I think it's kind of cool. I got all these new features with my streaming software. So I tried doing the chat thing earlier today. Some folks were watching it, and no one helped me test it, or if they tried, it didn't work. So I don't know what to do about that. One of these days, we'll get to a question and answer type of thing. I don't know if the background music is a good thing or a bad thing. It makes me want to just relax and go to sleep, sort of thing. All right, so I've got some great news to share. It's been a long day. It's been a long week. A lot of content to parse through on my days off to see if we can get a training program in place. I had just to share with everybody, I had a consultant type person connect with me, suggesting a different type of model than the Patreon model that I'm kind of launched into. And I think I have a whole one person who didn't need to become a patron. They had access anyway. They just believe in the project. So this is going to be short because I just today is my Thursday. Tomorrow is my Friday. My days off are on Sunday and Monday, and I discovered that I'm just really pouring a lot of myself into these, and it was just cool because my heart's here. But I don't know if I'm going to be able to accomplish my objectives the way I want to. But I can share the bot thing, which is kind of cool. So let's turn this music down a little bit. It's kind of cool. All right, it's better. Let's look at the bot and how it finished off today. So I use this tool myself, right? And I've cleared this and made it available. There's actually the music is distracting to me when I'm talking, so I'm just going to turn it off. It's kind of cool though. Yeah, I'll have to find my own music. So we started with $250 recap. I know I'm trying out my other camera because I can do these backgrounds, but it's kind of like I'm kind of fading in and out. I think I need to get a green screen backdrop. I think it's kind of cooler and neater than just, my living room blurred. But you know what? I'm a real person, and I'm not here to, I'm not here to blow smoke up anyone's, type of thing. So let's look at this where I'm at. So started with $250. The mission goal is $500. We are, as of earlier today, $417.14. We have $82.86 left to complete mission one. That's pretty cool, isn't it? I think so. Let's take a look at it. I already entered the numbers in, so I can tell you, I can give you a lot of information because I've updated the spreadsheet. And let me make sure that this is. Okay, so the spreadsheet that I've made available to the world doesn't have this mission completion up here in the corner. I added that today. I'll get that updated. It's not a big deal. So here is the actual results. Start on the 14th, recap, and it ended on the 17th. Well, each one of these is a cycle. Okay, so we complete cycles in order to complete missions, right? So anything that I do for training purposes, or even when I switch asset classes, I complete a mission one. Now I have people tell me, they just, oh, David, you can't do that. You can't do that. I've been doing this for over 2 years. This mission one concept came in, I don't know, 3 months in after I decided to do the DDTC thing in January of 2021. So for all the people who say can't be done, you have the right to your opinion. I'm just going to keep doing it. It's okay. You guys just, just to keep wondering how I do it. And what's kind of interesting is uh, someone suggested to me that I should just put part of this into a course, in a multi-course thing, and charge either 2,500 or $5,000 per course, and have like 4 courses. And I'm going to talk to them. They're going to pitch me probably on Monday to discuss how they can bring their team in to help me do that. I don't know if that's going to fulfill my bigger mission, but it might help me leapfrog into getting my time free. Because right now, I work full time while doing this, right? And it's kind of funny. It's like I'm between software and hardware and equipment and things. It's been an interesting, significant investment that I've made to try to save the world or do my part in doing that to help you. All right. So this bot got launched. I didn't. I did what I would consider a newbie mistake. I was impatient, and I did it on purpose because I knew the bot would go upside down for about a day, and it would kind of bounced up and down to even and whatever. And we'll look at the charts here in a second. But it completed today after 2.85 days, not quite 3 days, 68 hours running. The bot activated. From the time the bot activated to the time the bot ended, it's really kind of funny because I joked about being too greedy this morning on the noontime thing. And if I would have left it at being greedy, I would hit the target today, and I would have had a payoff. But I probably left, I don't know, maybe $3 or $4 on the table. So meh, not a big deal. But I thought it was kind of cute. So the previous cycle, to give you an idea, I had it kind of dialed in. I was in the trade, or the bot, excuse me, not trade. The bot was running for 18.76 hours, right? And it got $21.31 profit, right? This bot ran for, like probably 3 times as long, right? About this, a little bit more profit. But the daily ROI was, 2.09%. But this hosed my daily average. I'm now down to less than 2% a day, 1.88, which is okay because that's reality, right? Right. And that's what this is what this whole process is about. It isn't about me selling you something and then saying, individual results may vary. Well, I want to figure out what your individual results are, whatever that variance is, and let's give you a tool that literally is the plan built into the tool. So it ended today. At what time did it end? It ended at, this is military time, and the reason why it's on military time because that's my world. Not that I'm in the military. I work with mainframes and everything's 24-hour, military time. So at 6:10, it closed out. And how do I know that? I had to go in to the bot and look at the details of it. And I think I figured out a way of getting a camera on this so I can show you what I do, and I can do a split screen thing. I can do this. Let's see if I can show you. I tested this out the other day. I can do a split screen, and I could like have the cell phone, or I could broadcast me from the cell phone so you can look at, oh, look at this is so unstable with the camera thing. Uh, I think this is a function of they need to have a little better interface for doing the background. I think it's kind of an imperfect technology through Restream. Shout out to Restream. But here it's just not a big deal. But when I go into the details, to give you an example, in this last 68.44 hours, it completed 82 orders. 82 orders. 82. At all different, it depends. All 24/7 it was running, right? I didn't most a couple days ago it was like $2 when I looked at it. Now, we had $13.39 of grid profits, $10.09 of, actually the grid profits, because it ran longer, exceeded the price action. A lot of times it's the other way around. The price action exceeds the grid profits. And it's because it's a hybrid trading thing. But anyway, 5.96 actual net ROI in 2.85 days. 5.96%. I don't know. I think it's pretty good. I mean, it's not as good as I'm doing 100x trading, and my minimum thing I'm even looking at, I won't even look at a trade unless it's 30%, right? And people say, "David, you can't do that." And you know what? I do it all the time when I'm active trading. And I think we might be in a bull run, right? A lot of FOMO starting to happen there. So I'm kind of holding back a little bit because I might jump in to jump through a couple more missions on the HD 2.0 project, which is I forget how much money it has available. Somewhere between $6,000 and $7,000 on that particular project, which is a test that started from zero. I don't believe you. It doesn't matter if you do or not. That's what's so cool. All right, so we completed so I got the cycle, so I have this new average 1.88%. Oh, it's because another day is clicked off, right? So my percentage is going down. It was 1.94, but it's on at 1.88. So I have to update this. Holding my head in shame. I'm I'm point two. Was it? No, I'm my point. I'm 0.12 off my goal. A few days ago, I was what 2 point something something. Anyway, so with this updated information, when is this going to complete? If I don't get any better, we are going to this that pushed me out a day, 38 days to complete the mission. Looks like the mission's been pushed back to March 21st, where I've doubled the money. Now listen, I'm used to not I people like freak out when they say, "How can you calculate doubling your money, David?" Most people like the S&P 500, it's like, if they're having a good year averaging 8%, right? So you take 100, right? Divided by 8. I got a hand calculator here. It's 12.5 years. I don't and I don't necessarily know that that compounds. It's just a hand calculator. And, if anyone knows where I can get a hand calculator that's got a comma in it, so when I'm dealing with billion-dollar stuff, let me know. I wasted a day trying to find one. I went to Alibaba, and it's just like, the HP2 does it. Oh, someone's joined me. Hello. Twitch, I'm guessing. No, 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 no. I don't want my email. Come here. No, someone on Facebook. Wow, usually someone from Twitch. Hello, Facebook person. I can't tell or see who you are, so, although I think, Facebook can do a chat thing, but I don't I didn't launch the chat module, but, we can try it out. It just says Facebook person, so I'm trying to figure out a way to communicate where we can maybe do some question and answer type of thing. So let's get back to where was I? It did it move it from me? No, it just took me into my drive. That list was like a whole ton of projects and stuff and other things I'm working on. All right. So I already showed this. So the status, I think you came a little bit, you missed the intro. Started with 250. We're at 417 now, right? We're $82.86 away from goal. Here are the cycles. Okay. I just added this one earlier today at 8. I gave me at 6:10 and 33 seconds Pacific time. This thing auto closed, and I made $13.39 grid profits, $10 of trading profits, total profits of $23.46, $5.96% ROI. That's not APR, that's ROI. And my ROI per day, based on the number of days, was 2.9%, which actually is a little bit above my goal. And it took 2.85 days to do that, or 6 to 8.44 hours. Annualized out for an APR. The reason for the APR thing, what happened to this? That's not, I must have accidentally typed something in there. That's not what I wanted. Hold on. Let's fix this. Something's not right. Do I really have to go backwards till will it fix itself? No, because I closed it. All right, I'll fix that later. The APR formula. No, that's a hard entry. Oh, shoot. That was a hard entry when I closed the bot. Anyway, I have to look it up. I'm not gonna look it up now, but it was 1,000%. And this cycle, I made a what I would call a newbie mistake because I wanted to demonstrate over the last couple of days I've been talking about it was upside down, right? Like in the red. And that's one of the things I want to show folks is it doesn't matter, especially with a bot. It actually doesn't matter if you're active trading either, if you have the right plan and strategy. It's more of an advanced thing. I've come to the conclusion that bots is the way to start because you're learning the same golf swing process of reading the charts, only a very simplified version that you'll be using in either low leverage trading or high leverage trading. I prefer high leverage trading. If you want to write something down, your real risk is time in market because you have no control over crazy stuff that happens. Just because the chart looks like it's about to do something doesn't mean it's going to do that. And a lot of people train on that, and all the quant people, and it's just like, guys, you're not being honest with folks. So anyway, I take this information. My average is because the day clicked over is 1.88%. So I move this over to cycles. Okay. Now this is kind of like planning. All right. Um, is it- Let me see if I can make this even bigger. I could maximize it, I think. Does that make it easier, or is it better for me to not have it maximized and just move it to the center of the screen? Let me shrink this down. I wonder if I can change the sharing just to this tab and switch between it. That's something I haven't tried doing before. Um, I'll do that on my off time. I won't waste your guys' time with that. Okay, so start $250. My average daily return. This is the daily return on average based on the cycles from here, right? Based on this, quotes it up here. So this average per cycle is like each one of these is a cycle, whether it was done in hours or days. Like the previous one I did in, what was it, 18.76 hours. And this one was 68.44 hours. So whatever, it completed its cycle. And that gives me all this data that I can then guesstimate what's going to happen next, right? So 1.88%, it started on Tuesday, February 14th, 2023. So based on my real numbers, now if you were doing this test yourself based on your real numbers, I think you can start with as little as like $50 or $100. I started with $250, but that's not really true because I really played with this for like 6 months last year to get an idea because I started playing with this like 2 years ago. Anyway, I restarted it officially, officially, um, on Valentine's Day. And
I can do weird stuff too.
all right, don't mind me, it's late. And so back on track here, 1.8% is my real numbers. This isn't my guessing if we do it this way and if we get lucky. No, this is actual real life last month. You know how crazy crypto's been in the last month? It's been nuts and not in a good way. And I accomplished this with this process. And I haven't turned it into a system yet because I'm kind of dialing it in. All right. So this spreadsheet was added last week, I think. Anyway, don't tell me when. I can't remember exactly when, but I've been evolving the spreadsheet. And I finally released it like yesterday or the day before. So down here, I should complete the cycle if I don't get any better on my numbers, right? Looks like we might be in a bull run, so I might be able to get better in my numbers really hard, really fast. But we'll talk about it when that happens, right? So 38 days, okay, to complete a mission. It's not bad. I mean, literally, I go to bed at night, I look at it, I set it up, and then it gets activated. When it gets activated, or I just fine tune it. When it gets activated, I'm in, and then I look at the charts, I set an exit, and then when it exits, I check it once or twice a day, and that's it. I don't actively sit in front of a monitor or none of that. To be fair, when I take restroom breaks at work, I have nothing better to do, so I usually just pull it up and take a look at it. If we're in a bull run, I'll probably do a trade while I'm sitting there in the throne room because I have nothing better to do. Other people will like what? Read a newspaper, watch YouTube, music things, shorts. Me, I'm not gonna tell you how much money I made just on my potty breaks, but it's crazy what you can do in a bull run. But we're not there yet. So 38 cycles, 38 days, 38 cycles. All right. So I come over here to the next one. So everyone wants to know, well, when are you gonna be a millionaire? Well, it's a good question. Oh, someone else joined. Hello. Oh, they came and they left. Huh, it's all right. That's all right. Let's see who stayed. No, hey, POTU David author page. That's cool. So I have to up completion time 38 days for mission one. All right. So when should I cross? If I don't get any better and this average stays the same, I should cross the $1 million mark in 12 missions, not 20. I do a 20 mission thing starting from 0 or $5. Well, technically it's 0 because they loan you $5, but they want their money back in like 6 days, and I'll never do that again. Just do the learn to earn and get your money that way. All right, segue. So, yeah, 20 missions would be, yeah, and maybe I'll just keep doing this. It depends. I'd probably have to move over to Binance to do that. In order to do that, I have to probably establish citizenship where I have access because I don't have the freedom to do that as a U.S. citizen. And it costs about $250,000 to do that. How do I know this? Well, there's a plan for that. I actually have a book about this thick about how to get a second passport. Legally, it's written by a Department of State person, Immigration Department person for international living, for which I'm a lifetime member. Anyway, Dubai is looking really good for crypto right now. Malta and some other places. All right, be that as it's may, Wednesday, May 15th, 2024, if this cycle completes. Now, if I do better, if I get better results, the cycle days will get smaller. But every time I complete a cycle, it updates this average daily for me. And I come over here. Let me just get rid of this thing that's bothering me to explore the missions, right? And I put that information in here and it automatically recalculates the dates for me, right? Now, what might I do? So maybe when I complete mission 10, now I did mission 10 last year. It took me 2 months trading, what I call beast mode trading, zero trading losses, 100x leverage. And I started with $5 of borrowed funds. And right now it's somewhere between 10 and 11. Got stuck in a trade because of the FTX. Rich pricks at being $28 billion dollars and having your own little sex commune in the Bahamas wasn't good enough for the dude. And he had rich parents, which is why I'm writing a book on stewardship for billionaires and multimillionaires, because obviously they're not getting it. All right, another segue. So yeah, so 12 cycles across the $1 million mark. And yeah, and what's kind of cool is you can do this inside of a Roth account if you know how to do it. I can teach you how to do that. It's expensive. It's a pain in the butt to set up. But I spent 8 months. I stopped trading because I was doing so well in 2021. I need to figure out how to do it inside a tax-free scenario, which you can do as a U.S. citizen until Congress changes the laws or something. Then you won't be able to do it. They never assumed you could start with $5. They thought they could just limit the little people. Oh, listen, if you're under age 50, you're limited to, was it $5,000 or $6,000 a year contribution? It's like $500 some dollars a month. But if you're in your 50s and we're going to have an extra $1,000 to, for your retirement, I can go in there and start with zero. But I need the legal structure and I need a custodian that's IRS approved to do it, and I can do that. So I think it's absolutely hilarious. Anyway, segue, but yeah, you can do it, and you can do it legally. Not every custodian out there knows what they're doing. I went with the one that has been around the longest, has the highest ratings, and I verify with the IRS that they are approved by the IRS as a custodian. So it took me 8 months to do that. It was a pain in the rear end. Getting better at not using bad words while broadcasting. All right. If I go to mission 20, that'd be $262,144,000. Yeah, I don't need to go that far. Why don't I need to go that far? Well, because I have another spreadsheet over here. Hasn't been released yet because I need to refamiliarize it. But I can put in your birthday, how much money you make. This is not how much money I make. I was going for someone who's like minimum wage. What is minimum wage? I should ask Google, whatever it is. But it's a little complicated because everything that's yellow and red here, that's kind of my habit. If you're using my stuff, usually anything that's red is where you can manually type or override something. So anyway, this kind of can do a retirement thing. So um, let's say someone was born in 84. How's that? Someone that's probably in their 30s. And, they've been working for a while, so maybe they're making $43,000 a year right now. They're working 40 hours a week, 5 days a work week. Why? We can change it because it might be 4. Some people work 6 days. Some people work 12 hours, there's all these so anyway, you can just do what you want. You said a very complicated version of this, right? So this tells me absolutely oh, this is the hourly basis. So these 2 used to be linked, but they're not. I think the reason why they're not linked is because I created this sheet to work with my son Matthew, who was looking at different jobs, who were writing scenarios. All right, so I got some work to do before I release this. But based on this information I just entered, right, as an annuity to buy back your life, um, so someone born on this day, they need $914,074 just as an annuity, like lump sum, and this is you just take out your $43,000 a year. And if you're planning on living to age 90, you need $2,204,899. Now, this is not money that's working at you, not in a CD, nothing, just straight annuity, 0. I had a complex version of this where you could actually put that information in, but it's way too complicated. It wasn't necessary to explore things. Anyway, this spreadsheet's going to be released soon. I'll probably be able to wrap up working on it on Sunday or Monday. Might be able to release it on Tuesday. Here's this looks probably familiar to another spreadsheet. It's probably because I use this. But this is like if you want to pay off debts, you know, like a car or your house or all of your debts. You want to get debt free. And then after you've traded, this is like my minimum trade when I'm doing it 100x leverage, 33% per trade. Anyway, this is complicated. I'd have to teach you the process that I do, but I use this process to teach my son how to pay off a $35,000 car loan that he co-signed on. Shout out to Matthew. He'll probably recognize this. I literally created this for him when he came over to learn what it is I'm doing. In fact, the information I'm going through is from last year where I taught my son, my youngest son, who wanted to learn this. He came and spent 4 days with me. And we did this. We did the mind game one day. I mean, we literally did a mind game immersion thing. And it got to him so bad, he had to walk away for a couple hours because it was so intense dealing with the mind game that he was born and raised with. And why I'm saying that is that he had to suddenly realize that there's a different way of processing his past, his history, his childhood, what he learned in school. I mean, we did a deep dive. And you know what? I don't think I would ever do that to someone. I was there with him, right? But a lot of us have got to recontextualize in our past, changing our frame of mind from fear and scarcity into empowerment and abundance is not necessarily a painless process. And to do it all in one day, yeah. But man, after the 3 or 4 days, he looked me in the eye. He says, "Dad, I don't need an inheritance anymore." And I says, "Yeah, I know, son, but you're probably gonna have a really big one. But we're gonna work on you being a good steward next." And anyway, we've had a lot of fun. His first trade was like 15% ROI. It's kind of cool. Of course, he went on, got greedy. He forgot everything that I taught him once he went home, and he promptly liquidated himself, and he called me laughing his rear end off. I predicted it because I know him. He's a gamer. I knew he would get aggressive. I knew he would get greedy, and he did not disappoint. I know my son. He's an amazing young man doing great things. So anyway, so these are the kind of tools that I'm making available. These are tools that I use. They're not tools that I've created or outsourced someone to create for you to sell to you. These are tools that I create for myself. Once I've worked the bugs out of them, I've shared them in the last couple of years with friends and family. Oddly enough, the only people who really used it were people who made an investment in a process where I didn't ask them for anything. It was free. The folks in there that didn't make an investment or contribute or whatever, I think they couldn't get through the to-do list because they didn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. So a lot of the reasons why I'm doing these things now is I'm showing you, yes, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, but what's really cool for you, like if you want to learn 100x trading, I can show you how to do that. And I would tell you Do not start with more than $5, right? And I'll get you the security, the infrastructure so you don't get robbed or any of that sort of thing. But you're going to be doing zero point zero 0.01 ETH trades, which right now would be 18 cents. So a couple days ago it would have been 16 cents. So about 20, 21 cents to get in out of a trade at 100x. Whoa, didn't want to do that. But anyway, this lets you can get the spreadsheet and just play with the numbers, but you don't know what your numbers are, right? Until you do the trades or until you do the bot things, right? And I'll have a forum and Q&A and A and all that sort of stuff. Just there's only one person that's on my Patreon thing. And if you go back and re-listen to the beginning of this, I have a consultant person that wants me to package this stuff up and sell like 3 or 4 of these as separate training modules for about $3,000 a piece. And I'm going to talk to him because the sooner I retire myself one way or the other, the sooner I can do this full time and work on the bigger mission, which I've been talking about all week long, almost to the point of tears sometimes because my heart's so attached to this. It isn't, I mean, just this one bot test, which I started a month ago. Keep in mind, I've been doing this for 2 years, right? Um, there's my light at the tunnel. If I was doing nothing else in this, saved up $250. I started this on February 14th. This is not my story. This is a fictional story. I robbed HD 2.0 test $250, actually about $1,500 I robbed from that project to buy some buy and hold stuff. But because anyway, long story. So, but let's say this is what it did. I gave up, my favorite foo coffee drink for a month, right? About that. I ran the numbers years ago. In fact, that's how I got my first $200 to invest in. Was it 2018? Got some videos about that too. I mean, I did that. Was it 2 nights ago? I found the videos. They're how to play the dancing tree cryptocurrency game to get money if you don't have any money in your budget to invest. And I actually was doing it real live and had like these 1 minute, 30-second clips and stuff. It's really kind of cool. The beard was really short. I had a professional haircut and glasses. I looked like your typical person my age geek. Yeah, a lot's changed since 2018, right? Okay, so maybe I'll play that. But anyway, you can come in here and just play with the numbers. Just say, well, I'm going to start tomorrow, right? Starting fresh tomorrow. And let's say you watch one of my things and you heard about Homeless David 1.0. It took him like 59 days, let's say 60 days to complete a mission one. You're starting with $5 because maybe you are homeless. When would you become a millionaire? Well, let's find out. It would take you 18 missions and January 30th, 2026, starting with $5. Huh. If I put in zero, it does, I say from zero, right? It doesn't work. How does it happen with zero? Well, you do like the learn to earn is the way I would do it. I didn't know that was even available. But I came in, I have multiple accounts all over the place, but they offered me $5 of trial funds in the futures account. I thought, well, I'll test this out. Let's see if I can start with zero. And I promptly turned that in 6 days into just under $18, and then they wanted their $5 back. They took, like, half my trade gains. So I had, like, $7.87 left. Not quite mission 1. It took me another 2 days. True story. 0 trading losses, 100x leverage during a bear market. Nothing but long trades. I would have probably done better if I was shorting. Why don't you do shorting? Great question. Because with shorting, you have an unlimited possibility of loss. And I just, because I had an accident 8 years ago, brain damage, concussion, blah, 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 blah. And then I had COVID a little bit over a year ago. Switching gears, it's a little bit of a different mind game to do shorting. My son made out like a bandit, though. He's a gamer. He's just, yeah, he's got a skill that he's developed. But anyway, I'm not going to tell his story for him. Yeah, he was diagnosed with something. I told him, I says, maybe it's just human evolution because seriously, I can't do what you do. You're not normal. And he figured out that he has a skill, so he puts that to work for himself. So shout out to my son Matthew. Very proud of you. All right. So January 30th, 2026. So what is that? That's 3 years from now? Not even, is it? Yeah, 3 years. I should put in a thing in there to actually calculate how many years. That'd be kind of fun, wouldn't it, to tell you exactly how long, how many days, months, and years. Put 3 columns. Should I do that? Should I upgrade this? Wouldn't that be a great idea? I've already talked myself into it. It's going to happen. Man, hopefully I will remember this to do that. All right. So I dropped off. They dropped off. So goodbye. So they didn't like that. So that's how you can do it with $5. All right. I close that down. Let's see here. This is the wrong spreadsheet. All right, let's go back into here. I hit the wrong button. Explore missions. So I'm going to reset this. You get the idea. I was distracted by the person that just left while I was having a little bit of fun. All right. For all I know, their connection dropped and things like that. Can't take such things personally. So anyway, that was 38-day cycles. This is actually the spreadsheet I'm using for this project. This is not performance numbers. This is one. It's on my 38 days. On my it's on my cell phone. I just click it, open up the sheet. Right now, I have to work with the colors a little bit because it doesn't work well with dark mode. I prefer dark mode. So anyway, working on this. I'm going to update this sheet so you can actually see that a little bit better. But that's what I'm doing. I'm literally doing this. I've been doing this for a little over a month. And this is how you can project based on your numbers, not my numbers, your numbers. And we can get you there. Yeah. So there's like different courses. And so there's one course is like low leverage trading. If you're a US citizen, you may not even have access to leverage unless you have $10 million, not on US exchanges anyway. There are workarounds right now that work. Bots are interesting because even without leverage, you can still make this process work. So part of this is just having a contingency if we lose access to leverage. So anyway, this spreadsheet probably has evolved over about a year and a half. So I'm very proud of it. I don't know anyone else that's doing it. And I have a version of this like thing here. I have a version of this for different types of trading with which anyway, it when you're having to make decisions fast, instead of having to use a manual calculator, a spreadsheet's very, very handy. The reason why this is so skinny, right, is because the reason why it's so skinny is because it's literally designed to show up on my cell phone. 'Cause I usually don't have I don't trade off from this big screen unless it's my day off or I'm doing a gambling day or something like that. And I've got access to 200x leverage now, so that's kind of cool. All right, so let's see. Did anyone even try chatting with me? I'm going to close this out here for a second. Where am I? Let's put the music back on while I'm figuring this out. Yeah, I want to try chat. Let's look at the markets. Let's turn off this Patreon graphic. It's kind of cute. I tried it. I created it. There's an app for that. And let's turn off this other thing, which you can't necessarily see it, but it's the logo. All right. Let's get into a market review here before I wrap this up. So here is my bot. I'm using the XRP, but before we do that, let's look at Bitcoin. Almost 28,000. So yesterday at this time, it had just crossed 26,000 while I was broadcasting. Wow. So this is the 12-hour. This is the daily. This is the weekly. That is huge. Wow. Wow. It's either a bull trap or a bull run, right? That's pretty exciting. We're coming into the weekend, so I imagine folks might be taking some profits. All right, what's Ethereum doing? Pretty much the same thing, only not as strong. Above 1800, it was around 1600 or something. I know this because I had a bot that closed out at 17 something, made like 300 some dollars, not quite $400, 387, something like that. So all this stuff's top oil in Japan. So, it's saying, oh, strong buy, right? So to me, this is like, I know for a fact that folks are probably going to start taking, if they don't start taking profits, it's going to just catapult. Next step is they're saying 28,000, but for Bitcoin, but this is psychologically on its way to 30. And then I haven't felt FOMO. Have you felt FOMO yet? I haven't felt FOMO yet. So, yeah, good stuff. But my bot that I'm doing this mission thing, I'm using XRP. And I've explained that in previous videos why I'm doing XRP for this one. Because it's kind of in its own little world outside of US hedge funds. It still is reactive to the market, obviously. But look at this, just nice, clean, down, right? This is the daily, right? So, this is, somewhere around here is where I think the bot started and it went down and then it's gone up. And I got out. Where did I get out at? 38. Was it 13? Anyway, somewhere around here. Not quite there. I should have left it up there at 38, 90 something, but whatever. According to this, on the daily, this is just getting started. It wasn't that long ago. It was testing 40 cents. In fact, some of the bots I started with, I traded this whole range going back a month. So when was February 14th? Right there. See this collapse thing? I saw this happening and I thought this was a great point to start a bot. And it was, by the way. And I might have made a ton of money just letting it ride. Yeah, we'll never know. You know what I should do is I should do a side-by-side bot. Just wait for a massive dip, launch a bot, $250, right? And then do this process, right? And just compare the two month to month and see which one, how it goes. That'd be kind of a fun experiment. All right. Let's see here. There's less pressure when someone's not watching because when someone's tuned in, I'm trying to think if I was tuned in, what would I want to see? And I can't chat with somebody. The chat module in here just really, because it broadcasts a bunch of platforms. Like I'm on Twitch right now, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. So this is the decision making set of charts. Let's maximize these. Wrong button. So at work, I work on a PC, and at home, I'm working on a Mac. Why did I switch over? Because I'm creating content, and Mac has a lot of cool tools for processing. Let's try this again. All right. So what we have here is the 30-minute, 1 hour, 3 hour, and 6 hour. And let's make this so it's a little bit more, so we can see what's going on. All right. A lot's been happening. You're like, but David, those other charts is all green and it really looked green. Really looked really, really green. What's going on? Why is all the red in there? This is why I was really excited to do this episode. And anyone that comes back and watches this is it's really, really cool. All right. So we're going to take a look at what this is telling me. It's telling me, might not be a bad idea to start a shorting bot. And I might explore that someday, but I'm not going to because it just complicates things. So this red line here is called a point of control. right? It's a special indicator. You have to have a paid thing in order to access it. It's got an HD thing. It's a volume indicator. Most people, a lot of folks don't know about. A lot of folks don't use it. Well, a lot of folks do it. But as soon as this didn't stay above this, it started wandering down. What does this tell me? It's telling me people are taking profits, and it's telling me it's the weekend, right? And look at this. This is the hourly, right? Is it going to retest this? Yeah. Look at this. Look at what it's been doing. Up and then up and then up and then up and then. See the pattern? Is that car going to continue? Don't know. Oh, look what happened here. Peaked out. People took profits. Came down to the middle Bollinger Band. It didn't come all the way down here, but it's the weekend. It might, right? It's an unknown, right? And then when it soon came here, right? So was this last weekend? Friday? No, this isn't the daily. Never mind. This is the hourly. But you see the patterns, right? So this came below this. It spiked down here. It projected down. What does this tell me? It tells me it wants to travel down to here. And it might push through and travel all the way down to this support, right? So, depending on the type of trading style you're doing, you would do different things. Like HD 1.0 would wait for it to come down to here. Sometimes he has to wait. The frustrating thing with that is if it's a bull market, it may never come back down there for a long time, or it'll spike down there. So anyway, that's a trading technique. If I'm doing high leverage trading, I'm looking at these charts as a reference point, and this is telling me this is on its way down. So I would probably wait for this to decide that it's done. It completes its cycle. Notice this thing crossed up here in the MACD, coming all the way down, but our MFI is at the bottom. So this could like bottom out here and turn its way up, right? But the hourly is what most traders and bots are probably looking at in their quant analytics. That's why it's good to know what other people are looking at. So they're kind of probably wait till it comes back down here, or they're going to wait and see what happens tomorrow. Tomorrow is Saturday. So usually this will probably come down here and then retest on Saturday because people are going to be excited unless everyone wants to take profits, in which case they'll drive this down here. But notice we just had a cross in the MACD up here. We're at the top on the MFI, right? We're just starting to go red here. Let's see this, right? So these are kind of in alignment a little bit, but the MFIs, notice that this one's all the way at the bottom, and this one's all the way at the top. There are moments, if you want to wait for something, where all of these charts all the way down to 5 seconds line up. I call it the stars align. Those are magic moments, especially if there's a bull run, because it's going up. unless trying to catch up a power grid or Elon does a tweet or someone does something crazy. Not a guarantee, but it's usually a good sign when the stars align. So we're not. This stuff is telling me it wants to push down, and why is it pushing down? Well, this is volume. If you're wondering what this was, why I have it turned off here because I don't really care because these are long time frames. So what am I going to do when I go to bed tonight for setting up a bot with this? Well, I might test out a new idea. I might do 2 bots. I might set up 1 bot to get into probably here. And this is just like a little bit. See how far it went down? It's probably not going to go much down further than that if it's going to bounce. But it will travel down and then reverse, which would be tomorrow morning. I'm guessing. No crystal ball here. A lot can happen between now and tomorrow morning. So I could set a trap here with a bot with half the funds that I have. No one has heard this. The folks that left early, you missed it. Sorry. And no one's going to listen to this. So it's cool. And then I can set another bot to get activated, maybe down here. Because if I was trading, I would probably go for a max hit. But with a bot, I don't mind it activating and then just buying on the way down. So it just increases your grid profits. The problem with that is I'm dividing up my I'm dividing the funds available. Should I do 50-50, 30-40? No, no, 30, 30-70. I don't know. I'll have to think about that. When I'm done here, I might just take a nice hot relaxation bath or something and give this some thought. But I came up with a strategy around that last night at like 5 in the morning. I had a thought and I made notes to myself. I made notes to myself. So over here on the 3 hour, it's telling me, oh, we have a doji. This usually means market reversal. This candle that happened at 5 a.m. this morning, it broke through this point of control, which was a signal saying it's going to go up for a while. If you want to know how to interpret that, does it always do that? No, there is no always. Okay. This didn't break through the next level. If it did, it would be on our way to 40, but it didn't. So we have this doji, which usually represents the traditional meaning of this type of a doji is it's going to change direction. And next 3 to 6 hours takes us into tomorrow morning, which might bring this down here to test this, and we go back up. Same thing here on the 6 hour. We didn't break through. We had a nice little jump, came down, lost momentum. Will it travel on down here over the next day? Maybe reverse itself come Sunday or Monday? Maybe. Things usually dip on Monday, depending on how these cycles work. And it took me a long time to understand this. Is I have a chart, I showed it, it's available, where the different markets open and close. Not all the markets, but the main ones that influence things. So when the markets open, motion, closed, we have like a Grayscale Trust, which Bitcoin, Ethereum, and some other assets. I think XRP is one of them. When those markets close on wherever the Friday is, the stock markets that only open, from like, 8 to 5 or 8 to 3 or whatever it is they operate under, they open and close. But crypto runs 24/7 around the globe. It's a new thing, right? So they have automated bots. People put in their limit orders or limit sells, whatever their process is. And when those markets open, it's chaos for 30 seconds to 5 minutes. And after all the chaos happens, like it'll spike down, it'll spike up, it'll spike up, it'll spike down. It all depends on what happened while the markets were closed. So if things made a new high while the markets were closed, and when the markets opened, these things will automatically sell to take profits, which causes a down spike. Now, if things were down throughout the weekend, right, when the market opens, some people will have stop losses. They'll get activated, which pushes it down for a down spike. And then the bots start buying all the limit orders and it causes an up spike, and then it starts trending up. And it all depends on stuff that you can actually research. You can get an idea what's going to happen. U.S. market, usually what happens in the U.S. market sets the tone for the rest of the markets until like midnight or the next day on the other side of the world. All right. So what am I going to do? I don't know yet, but what I should do is I should just set a bot down here or just wait, but I usually will set a bot trap. So maybe I'll set a bot trap in the middle. If it gets activated and keeps going down, that's okay, because it'll probably work its way back up and I'll be upside down. I don't care about it being upside down. And the next cycle will come and go. I'll make $20, $30. Boom. Then we'll just have, I think I have like 3 more cycles left to complete. And then I'll have doubled my money in this test. It's kind of cool. I think it's cool. All right. Let's, because I did this wrong, I have to just do this manually. Sorry about this. Why do I have this whole 32-inch screen going all the time? Why do I do that? It's a great question. I used to do it vertically because I was experimenting with when I was newly experimenting with high leverage trading. It was an idea that I had after doing some low to moderate level trading. I can turn this monitor vertically, like I don't know if you can see my hand. I just turn it from sideways, and so it's up and down. And some of my training videos actually have that vertical that way, and I went back to horizontal. I don't know which one's better. I haven't made up my mind yet. It might be better for me to do vertical because a lot of folks watch this stuff on a cell phone. But anyway, I very seldom use this other than when I'm watching TV or something, I see something happen. I mean, I literally was on my phone with my son talking to him after I was doing training. I said, "Oh my goodness, there's a trade setting up." And he says, "Hold on a second, Dad." And he jumped in and he made like 30% while we were on the phone. But anyway, but this is always on here because it's always it's subliminally training my mind because I can look at this thing from like 6 feet back and I can pretty much give you an idea what's going to happen next. And these over here, these are the faster trading ones. Wow. How much? What's the difference? 37 cents. This is a 1 penny difference. But this is XRP, so that might be enough. I'd have to run a calculator, see if that's enough motion to movement. But usually this is a 5 second one down here. And I know this has nothing to do with bots, so this is just like extra credit information. So what am I looking at here? So this is 5 second, this is the 15 second, this is a 15 minute. What is this telling you? Well, this is telling you that we've kind of come down, right? And we're also seeing that it's bottoming out, right? Look, so this one over here on the 5 second is crazy, right? Look at how far that came down, right? So if you're doing 100x or 200x trading, right, you're waiting for this waterfall to happen. And while that waterfall is happening, you're guesstimating where it's going to be bottoming out, whatever the asset is. And then as soon as it reverses, right, you see it bottom, you see it happen 5 second increments, right? You go over here and you verify it. It's usually like this MFI is at the bottom, this MFI is at the bottom. And then I look at the 3 minute, and if the 3 minutes at the bottom too, which look, it was bottomed out here, I'd get in. You're not getting in up here where most people teach you to get in, right? After it's confirmed itself. You've gotten in way down there and you're an instant profit within seconds. I don't know anyone that teaches that. I mean, you've got to have your mind game under control. I mean, to do it with 0.01 ETH or something is really easy to do, right? And that's why I tell everyone, don't trade with more than $5. Learn how to do it. And it works. And I earlier I showed how to go from $5 to $1 million in a 60-day cycle. But your actual data you accumulate, and I have a spreadsheet for that. And then with your real data, you can guesstimate your retirement, depending on who you are, how much money you're making, what your age, all that. Someone has joined me. Oh, hello, person from Twitch. I don't know if you're a new person or if you're the same person who's been tuning in. This is kind of an interesting episode. So the bottom line is I completed the cycle on the. I'm going to assume it's a person who's been tuning in, right? So yeah, you just got some really good stuff there on what I call beast mode trading, and that's how my HD 2.0 went from 0 to 10 and a half cycles, and right now I moved him over to bots. Anyway, so you probably already seen this, but let me hold on a second here. Let me, since you're here, I'll do a quick recap of the bot wrap ups, so you don't have to necessarily go back and rewatch the beginning unless you want to. I may have said something really, really good. So give me 1 second here to bring this up. All right. This is going to be a quick recap of what the finishing of the cycle. And all right. So if we had chat going and stuff like that, I could even ask you and you could tell me, but we're just going to assume that you want to see this. So I'm assuming you want to see this. If not, sorry. So it started with 250, right, on the 14th. And if you're new, then this is just going to be a quick recap. I've done this twice a day for like a week now, almost a week now, and I've created a lot of content, which I'm going to go back to and cut pieces out for training purposes because some of these things are between like 45 minutes to 3 hours long. So yeah, I know, but that's why we have AI to parse it out. And anyway, segue. So start with $250. Now $417.14, $82.86 away from completing mission one. Y'all are going to hear me repeat that over and over again until it's sick in your brain. Mission one. And this was not $5 because bots, I don't think you can do with $5. You can do futures trading with $5, but bots, I think it's a minimum. I don't know. It depends on the asset and the price of the asset. Like Ethereum, I think it's like a minimum of $200 or something like that. You might be able to do $50 with XRP. It's complicated, but you can't do it from zero. Okay, that's the point. So I entered the information in today. It automatically exited at 6:10 yesterday p.m. while I was at work. I didn't really notice it till after work because it was a busy night at work. I had 6x leverage. It took 68.44 hours, 2.85 days. Had a ROI of 5.6996%, not quite 6% ROI. Now, the previous time I did this, I pretty much did almost the same, right, in 18.76 hours. But I deliberately made a mistake here, which I've talked about over the last 2 or 3 days, twice a day, showing, it was upside down, right? But it's okay to be upside down in a bot because it was scalping. Because of that, it actually had more grid profits than trade profits. This is based on the price action. This is based on it moving up and down and it's buying and selling. I think this bot did 86 trades, 24/7 during that time period. And I just set it up, I don't know, 75 hours ago or something. And I just, it did its thing and it exited. All right. So take that information there. My average daily was 1.88%, right? I'm showing you how the spreadsheet works. So I updated this here, which pushed me down to 38 days to complete mission one. Estimate, not a guarantee. I might do better, especially if we're in a bull run, you're going to see these numbers get better, right? This has been during the last month when it's been a crazily bear, kind of weird sideways month. That's why I've done this. It started on February 14th, right? I can take this cycle of 38 days, put it in here, right? Here's my start date. Here's how much money I started, right? So let's say if I complete the missions on a 38-day cycle, and that assumes that I'm going to make the same mistakes or have the same rate of return. I don't get any better at it, which it never happens. I always get better. Everyone I know always gets better over time, right? The more you practice your golf swing, the better you get at golf. Same thing here. But that's a regression analysis thing, and I'm not gonna go get that annual return. If I used to, it's not worth it. You just need a ballpark for this. Doesn't matter if you're off by a couple days or a couple of months. No, because May 5th. Oh, I pushed it back a little bit. All right. 12 missions, May 15th, 2024, across the $1 million mark. If I don't get any better, if I just keep doing what I've been doing for the last month, that's when I'll cross $1 million on this one bot test. And this is a training exercise. I'm trying out a new camera. I know it's kind of weird, but this is my idea of a training exercise. And this is the same kind of a spreadsheet thing for high leverage trading, low leverage trading. It's the same process, same golf swing, same process. You learn the process. The process is what's important. Then you get the result depending on what the type of trading you're doing or doing all three at the same time. And then you track your results. And then this becomes more accurate because it's fine tuned to you, not me, you. But before you start, you can play with the numbers and say, well, he said 60 days. So what's 60 days? Would it be worth me to try this out if it took me 60-day cycle? It's about 3 years, right? Most people, they have no reliable way of doing this. They're spending $3,000 to $10,000 to some guru telling them how to create something or do something or start a business or whatever. And they have no basis of anything other than what's called performance numbers. It's just kind of a guesstimate. based on what someone else did. And what I've did is I've designed a process where you doing the process provides the information based on your results to guesstimate this. This is turns into an actual plan. If it took you 100 days to complete mission 1, it doesn't matter how long it takes you to complete mission 1. It's a function of time. It's just a function of time, and you will get better. HD 2.0, 3x limit trading, hourly graph, very limited, making all the mistakes, took him 59 days during kind of a bearish sideways, kind of a mixed market to complete a mission 1, right? Then I did HD 2.0 with 100x leverage and really almost completed mission 2 in 6 days, but it was with trial funds. I kind of already talked about it a little bit early. You probably heard me repeat the story. You'll probably hear me repeat the story. Why do I repeat the story? Well, until I actually go out and pull out the best stories and create the training for this, I don't know who's showing up. And I don't know if you've heard it before, but repetition is part of learning. So that's why you might hear me be in repetition. So cool stuff. And then I have a mission tracker. So as you complete your missions, you fish this out. It'll just show you when. It's just another part of the business plan. This is literally a business plan where you start, here, and then, you finish a cycle, and then, you just, and it gets fun. You do this. I do this before I go to bed at night. I set it up. Usually in the morning, if I have that dip that I talk about, I'm in and I'm in profit. When I wake up, I smile. I have my breakfast. I do one of these little things. You don't have to do the whole thing that I'm doing here. I go throughout my day. I come home. If maybe during the day I see something happen, I exit, um, and I just do it again. If I'm in it for a couple days, it's okay. I think with this one over here, it was the second cycle I was in for 4 days. And I made $7.73, 2.89% ROI, 0.71% ROI per day. Ugh, that's what's killing me. But see, I didn't know then what I know now, right? Because I was creating this process. And I didn't start sharing this process till around here. Like I think this cycle. Or is it this cycle? It might be this cycle. In the middle of this cycle, I think is when I turn. I know I wiped this is a manual entry, not a calculated entry, APR over here. I have to look it up to put it back in. That's why there's an end there. I'll fix that before the next broadcast. But anyway, this is cool. And when you do this for yourself, whatever the type of train is, the same kind of thing to track, your confidence goes up. And if you start small and build, everyone wants to win the lottery and get rich next week. I get it. I understand. I want to. I got my lottery tickets here. Diana bought them. And I have a plan for that, right? I show you the $2.2 billion planning sheet, right? That's what I think that one's already available. So you can play with those numbers at that level. Once it gets in your head, gets in your subconscious brain, you start looking at things differently. But there's a mind game here, right? So, like I'm a US citizen, right? I know there's like 30 to 70 million US citizens that are praying for an Armageddon in the world to come to an end so Jesus comes back and resets everything and creates paradise. And they believe it with all their heart. And I understand it. And how are you going to have faith in your future and do something like this if what you're really hoping for is like someone like Putin launches nukes? That'll cause a dip, right? There's no hope in it. There's no light at the end of the tunnel. That is a mind game that if that's going on in someone's brain and they're like focused, they're afraid of this, they're afraid of the socialists, they're afraid of the communists, they're afraid of the Democrats, they're afraid of the Justice Democrats, they're afraid of the Republicans, they're afraid of the mega. So I went through both sides of that coin, right? They're just fear, and fear sells. I went through training today on YouTube, right? And they said, you know what? Making people actually get better responses and engagement if they piss people off and make them angry. I'm like, I'm not going to do that. And I'm not really going to use fear for any of this either. There's some serious stuff going on, right? And it's going to happen whether you're afraid of it or not. But you have to have the light at the end of the tunnel. Otherwise, what happens when you don't have a light at the end of the tunnel? You have a hard time getting up in the morning over stuff you have no control over. It's going to happen with or without your permission. And that's a trauma response, right? You're out of control, right? You shut down. It's normal human behavior. And our whole world runs in that times thousands of years. It's kind of why we're facing extinction. I'm kind of a science-based guy, right? We hear about one or two things going extinct. We've crossed those tipping points. It's more. It's more than two. They knew about it, and they're still not doing anything about it. It's kind of sad. I think some of these people they might have a plan to like go in their bunker and they think that they're going to like reboot and it's going to be their genetics and it's just this thing, but they don't realize that that bunker is a tomb because if that happens to the world, unless someone comes back and waves, wiggles their nose and waves and speaks of the water, they have literally created a toxic waste planet they're going to die of starvation in their bunker. Hello, Mr. Billionaire. Good luck with your converted silo. Who wants to live in that world? Let's not go there. That's called determinism. Anytime you hear the word prophecy, I know the segue. I want you to think if that's true, that someone thousands of years ago saw exactly what was going to happen, then you and I and what we do has no bearing on anything. It's called determinism. You have no free will. It's already been ordained because that's the way it's going to be. That makes no sense. No one thinks about it. The fact doesn't make sense. You know what does make sense? It took me till like last week to figure this out. And I'm like 50 and a half years old. I've been pondering this stuff for a long time. People could see the narcissistic sociopathic. They didn't have that language. They could see how the rulers were slaughtering people, forcing them to believe the way they wanted to way back in the day. They saw these cycles happening. They were smart. They knew how to write. They were the magi. Writing was magic. We still have no illiteracy, right? I think they said, listen, if this shit continues, this was a time when they were like inventing the new thing that won the war was a better metal or a catapult or a trebuchet, right? Ooh, battering ram, right? They realized that if we didn't stop that cycle, we would eventually destroy ourselves. And back then they were experimenting with fire and Greek fire. So all this imagery and all these prophecies were probably just warning, saying someday we will incinerate ourselves. It was kind of a logical conclusion for someone that was a very logical, intelligent scientist from 4, 6, 7,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago. And then the people in power didn't like that criticism, so they usually slaughtered the magi or whatever, unless they could create gunpowder from or whatever. And so they paid off people who were struggling in poverty, right? Listen, I want you to write me a story that serves me. So we create prophecy. So we can use a prophecy saying, listen, I want you to work really, really hard for me, and your rewards will be after you die. Best scheme ever invented by some rich and powerful person a long time ago. And that's how our whole world is being run today. And it works. Conquering works, slaughtering people, raping, pillaging, that worked. I don't think it needed to be that way. But we finally, during the last 100 years, reached a point where we can actually incinerate ourselves. That's one option. Or nature will go through a cleansing cycle because of global warming. And we saw it coming. Profits beyond our death was more important from some already rich pricks who, being a billionaire or trillionaire, just wasn't enough. Wipe us all out. Everyone's wondering, well, if Putin doesn't win his war, he's just going to kill everybody. Yeah, I don't think his stuff works personally. And anyway, Bo of the fifth column gets in that. But let's say he does that, right? The Russian people allowed somebody into power to kill them all, including us. And we almost had someone in power that wanted to just nuke everybody who didn't agree with them. Because why? Because, well, Jesus is going to come back. Armageddon. So we're not going to wait for that to happen. We're going to force it. Like, well, that really wasn't prophecy. Oh, prophecy is determinism. What if it was a warning? Oh, we're not heeding the warning. Boo. Yeah. I have a short book on that I should publish. I started writing it a couple weeks ago. It's just like, it was like, bam. It's like, oh, but man, it's real easy. Everyone wants to get into the new age stuff and the, messages from the other side because dead people are going to know more than what we know. So, okay, whatever. And wanting to predict the future and blah, blah, blah. It's like, why don't we create the future? Oh, well, who taught that? Jesus did. Actually, Muhammad did too, and Buddha, a bunch of other people. They actually had all the same message. Didn't Jesus say, "Are ye not gods?" I translate that differently. Are ye not divine? Meaning everybody, not just dudes. Hmm. But what about the sheep? The shepherd thing. Yeah, I have a nasty story about that. You know what a good shepherd is? I'm having fun right now. Okay, a good shepherd is a business person who breeds his sheep, shears his sheep, and then slaughters his sheep for profit and grows the herd. Now, I'm not going to say anything else. Now, you look out, and it's a very good parable with how shepherds manage their sheep. And we learned that during COVID, documented. It's exactly what happened. Especially, anyway, I don't want to get into it. There's, and oh, by the way, all right, I'm going to change my voice for this. Do I have the right voice thing? No.
There's no sheep that ever becomes a shepherd.
Yeah, so if Satan exists, that was one of his best ones right there. It's just kind of crazy. So I'm kind of all for you being divine and being able to create what's next versus being enslaved to somebody who is probably under a knife by some rich narcissistic sociopath where total power and domination still wasn't enough. And we're making decisions based on somebody who wouldn't even know how to turn on your cell phone. And when your cell phone blinked at it, he'd probably call it evil and stone it to death and turn over our power over to that person that wrote something 5,000 years ago or 2,000 years ago or whatever, Nostradamus, who was looking in the waters. Just crazy stuff. Anyway, so I'm an advocate for you actually being divine and creating what's next. Because it kind of falls into like, oh, well, you're a sentient being. Oh, you have free will. Oh, yeah. You're working within a rigged system. Yeah, but you're able to assess that. That's called intelligence, right? Not predeterminism. All right. I had no idea I was going to go on to that kind of a rant. A lot of folks, my friends, love that rant. Anyway, so there was the thing. We're doing good. We're right on track, even with a mistake that I did on purpose. And HD 1.0 did a lot of mistakes on purpose. So we're looking good. I already kind of went through all this stuff and actually gave you some insights on how you could trade. Please don't do 100x trading with more than $5 in 0.01 ETH as a training process, please. That is my training process. Don't go in there with $10,000, even though the numbers look really good. Don't do that. Every time I've thought about moving like that kind of money in to trade with that I've always found it's better to get to $10,000 starting with like $100 or $500 or $1,000, or better yet, $5. And the $5 going from 5 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 40, 40 to 80, 80 to 160, 160 to 320. You learn so much through that process. And you can do it with zero trading losses. I know. If anyone tells you they can do it with zero trading losses, they're lying. They're a liar. They're a blah, 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 blah liar. Don't take my word for it. You're probably going to get liquidated till you get the hang of it. But, at $5, okay, you can't even do 100x right now on KuCoin because they only let you have 75x leverage. So 75x, whatever, take it a little bit longer, a couple days extra. So it's 1,800 right now 18 cents plus trading fees, 21, 22 cents, less than a quarter. Less than what I used to play Miss Pac-Man for. That game was done and over, usually in less than what, 3 minutes? Which is about how long I wanna be in a 100x trade, right? It's like playing Miss Pac-Man. Only imagine never losing. Just put in a quarter, you get a quarter back. Put in a quarter, or you put in 50 cents, get a dollar back. It's kinda like that. Don't take my word for it. Try it. If you get nothing from me, if I get abducted by aliens and my mission comes to an end, take what you learned in the last, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes. $5, the market will teach you everything you need to know. But start small. Don't do the sandbox thing because the data is crap and it's slow and it's boring. And your subconscious mind knows that the money's not real. But there's something magical. Like, I think with Bitcoin, you can probably do nickel trades because it goes out to like 8 digits or whatever. There's something magical if you're just have a nickel or a dime involved with it. There's something about it. There's just something about it. Faking it and then bringing real money to it. You know what happens? Instantly, you know it's real money in that 6 months to 2 years you spent in a sandbox doesn't serve you because you still have a mind game to deal with. Don't do it that way. That's the big thing between me and everybody else. Everyone that's selling up anywhere between a $500 with an upsell to $3,000 program or $1,500 program, or a $3,000 program with an upsell to $6,000, or a $1,000 program with an upsell to $6,000 with the real upsell at $10,000. But if you really want to get in on the insider circle, the VIP table, $20,000. No one teaches this. They teach you the same stuff that people have been teaching hedge fund managers for the last 40 years in the stock market. So when you wake up and hear about, oh, hedge funds going out of business, hedge funds this, they lost $20 billion over the weekend. Oh, cryptocurrency crashed again. Bitcoin's going to zero. Another $150 billion gone, right? That's because they're following that training religiously. It's quant training. A lot of them's got PhD in mathematics, master's degree, quant analytics. It's like they're trying to be prophets, but it doesn't work that way. The charts don't work that way. They just don't. Crazy stuff happens. All right. I'm trying to think. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to see. I wonder if the chat thing automatically opens up. Let me see. Where did it go? Here it is. See if it auto logs me in. It does. Oh, look at that. This is cool. All right. So, Mr. Ms. Twitch, you got any questions for me? First person to do that. I don't know if you put in something in Twitch if it'll show up here. It'd be a great test. Or if you just said hi, I could say hi. See, it shows someone's here. I'm going to type in the word hi. Oh, it is me. Mom would say, but David, it's hello, it is I, but she was from a different generation. Did you see that? Did that show up in Twitch chat at all? Can you respond to that? I'm just curious. So if someone on Facebook does it, it just says Facebook user. I think in someone on YouTube would say, it might show me who it is. I've never had to done the Twitch thing. I'll give you 3 seconds to try it out. 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. Didn't mean to put you on the spot. All right. Or maybe you tried it and I just can't see it, which means it didn't work. All right. It's okay. I just learned something. So that's kind of cool. All right. Let's see. Do I have anything else to share? Let me check my notes while we wrap up here. What's next? I think I pretty much covered everything with what's next. I had a consultant person tell me I should create like 4 courses with some of this information and then some other stuff. And I've got a consulting call with them. I think it's going to be on Monday. Anyway, and he's going to, have a whole team kind of thing. We'll see what the deal is. Um, I don't know if I can keep this cadence of doing 1 to 2 hours twice a day at the beginning of my day and the end of the day, but I've done enough over the last week combined with all this other information, which I think I've shared. I've showed, like this. This was empty. This is like the resources that I've just made available. This is resources that I've made available. Um, this is, let's see, this is resources that I'm working on. Here's just different missions, training stuff. These are all lessons already done. Some of the stuff is, mission one, mastered passwords, infrastructure, how to find money in the money game, the legend of homeless David. Oh, this actually documents mission one for HD 1.0, um, December 13th, 2021. So yeah, I'm not starting from scratch with this stuff. You're getting the results where I got to a point where it's like, okay, I can teach this, and what I got is really, really good, and nobody else is teaching it. So anyway, so yeah, I got a lot of work ahead of me. So for me to do this by myself is probably going to take me a year, right? And then it is unbelievable how much time it takes to do video stuff, even shorts and stuff. So I'm looking at AI utilities that'll parse out the things I'm doing. God, that's just blink. I think when I move, because it's dark in my room right now, the camera doesn't like my movements. So sorry about the flashing. I think I'm just gonna go back to the camera moving forward, unless I can fix that, or I hold really, really still, which is boring. So anyway, yeah, I've got a variety of different ways of getting to where we want to go. But long term, the mission is always going to be the DDTC mission, which is to help normal people become financially empowered while learning the POTU principles so that you will make the world a better place, right? I would hate to teach you how to be a millionaire. I don't think it'll work for you. I actually tried this for a couple people. Um, if you are so wrapped up that you're expecting the end of the world, right? And I don't say that to be a criticism. I'm just saying if you have that fear and scarcity lens that you're looking at life through, you're not going to be a good steward with the money you've earned, or you're going to earn the money and you're going to be afraid. So if this is why 70% of lottery winners lose it within the first 5 years. 70%, it's crazy. They're worse off. How are they worse off? Because of the mind game. You all of a sudden have $100 million net, and all your friends and families are begging for money. Everyone who has a sick dog is begging you for money. You have all this stuff, and you weren't mentally, emotionally prepared. You didn't have a plan for it. So what do? You buy a nice house in a gay community, and you isolate yourself from the rest of the world because you're afraid they're going to come take your money from you. And then you hire professional money managers because you don't know how to manage money, and you're too lazy to learn how to manage money. So, you trust licensed, certified people to perpetuate your wealth. So maybe they do that. But you're always wondering if they're going to rob you because you read about the lotto lawyer who screwed all of his clients. Well, yeah. If you don't even know enough to, if your lawyer is giving you bad advice, well, you're living in fear because you haven't been empowered. That's why people seriously, I need to publish the books. Are you ready to be a billionaire? I'm literally, I'm over halfway done with it. I need to publish it. Because people need to be mentally, emotionally prepared for, because like tithing is really a bad idea because you can do better. And by the way, the creator of all the many universes, trillions of universes, doesn't need your money and already owns the planet and doesn't need a war to secure a certain part of the planet. It's kind of dumb. I know I've blown people's minds with these kinds of things since I was age 6. Whew. Didn't think about it. Doesn't make anyone a bad person. I was born and raised in that stuff too. It took me a lot. It was very painful to get out of it, but it'll hold you back from being successful in anything. You build a business, you don't trust your employees, so you spend tens of thousands of dollars in security equipment to protect, a couple $100 worth of stuff. And then you prosecute the shit out of this if someone who you're not paying very well robs from you, steals from you. It's like, do you see the cycle? What's the problem there? It is a fear and scarcity view of the world. This stuff that I'm doing here crosses, why am I fading totally out now? Transcends your career, your business, your donations. If you're running a nonprofit, I've consulted with so many people privately since about age 14. I have helped edit master's theses and stuff, and I've got citations finally. And anyway, I've been hired by lawyers to do research and create strategy, and it's just been a crazy run for me. I've done a lot of cool stuff, but this mind game thing, it just won't work for you if you don't have a plan to conquer it. And what's cool about what I shared in this video, starting with the $5 and zero point zero 0.01 ETH, that alone, if you do it, will help you conquer the mind game. Yeah. Just by as a process. Telling you about it isn't gonna work. Everyone says, "Oh, you gotta do this. You have to think this way." This that's not that will not get you there. It doesn't work. It does not work. Affirmations will get you so far, but no, you have to do more. But the cool thing is doing more is easy, it's fairly inexpensive, and it's about awareness. And I did a deep dive into mass mind control and researched it, and they've got it down to a science. It started thousands of years ago, but during World War II, there was a lot of experimentation going on, and man, they learned a lot of stuff. And they started deploying it again. They literally started deploying it. They've done the research, the experts, not me. The guy's name is Hassan. Really great. He's an expert. He got caught up in the Moonies. He was caught up in a cult, and it just really, really good stuff, but it started with Richard Nixon. Everyone hated him. No one liked him. And then they took the lessons that was learned and they rolled out a media campaign and he won. Mind control works. Yeah. And we're all subjugated to it and we're born and raised into it. So if I said anything tonight that freaked you out or whatever, don't freak out. Do your own research. Right? I tell everyone, trust but verify. Don't trust but verify. The key word today, I stopped trusting at age 6 and started asking some really, really hard questions of the people who were in spiritual authority in my life. And my parents more than once had to shoo me away and apologize because I dared ask things that was on everyone's mind. I spent a lifetime doing that, and I demanded answers, and I got them. I got those answers like, I don't know, 23 years ago. I started figuring it out. And I can poo poo on anyone's belief systems or whatever, but that doesn't work either, right? It's about you saying, huh, that made sense. Why'd that make sense? And ponder it. I spent 6 months. I came up with this idea about everything has the divine purpose, right? Everyone agrees with that. The atheists would qualify. They say, well, if there is a divine, then yes, everything would have a divine purpose. So I asked myself, well, what's the divine purpose of evil or Satan or Lucifer? Took me 6 months to figure it out, but I figured it out. I know you want to know the answer. I kind of got the insight to not give the answer easily. Let folks, they can figure it out for themselves. Just ponder it. Because if there is a divine out there, right, creator of all it is, you don't need me to connect with it, or a preacher, or a teacher, or a guru, or a master, or a donkey, a talking donkey, twice, Old and New Testament, or a talking burning bush. And I'll be honest with you, if you go upstairs to your toilet and your toilet seat starts talking to you, get checked out, please, right? But I have a 5-part divinity and truth filter, so if your toilet seat does start talking to you, you can at least screen it to see if it's worth listening to, right? Yeah, that was one of the first I always wanted to figure things out. Anyway, I got that. I need to publish that or make it available. But yeah, it's cool stuff. That's kinda where I live in my world. this trading and money and financial things is a way for me to get that message out to folks. But I guarantee you, if you are afraid, I mean, right now, everyone who's selling courses is talking about they're not using the Mississippi scheme, but all the information they're using in the marketing is based on the Mississippi scheme, which was written in the 1800s. And it's like a classic stock market reading book about delusions of crowds and things like that. But then there's a short chapter about like the tulip madness thing that happened. And then there's a thing called the Mississippi scheme. And that's when fiat currency was created. It'll only take you maybe 15 minutes to read it. It's like a little book report, but it's about a guy out of France that created it to solve the King of France's financial problem, and it melted down. And what they do? They forbid the little people owning gold and silver, and they confiscated all of it. And it wasn't enough, so eventually they had to go tax the wealthy people. It's almost like seeing history repeating itself, and they all have read the story because I can see it in the news reports. But yeah, that's probably going to happen. We can't globalize anymore. We can't exploit slave labor in the other part of the world anymore. And people are switching currencies away from the US dollar. We can't just say, oh, we owe you some money, China. Oh, don't worry. The Federal Reserve will have them print up what you need. How many pallets of 20 million do you need? And then they print it up. And then they charge us, a taxpayer, interest because the Federal Reserve is a private company that was established after the Depression to serve a ruling elite bunch of families. That conspiracy theory is not a theory. So the money we have as a nation, we are paying interest to already rich pricks who don't give a shit, who make money just from the existence of our money supply. And there's not a damn thing we can do about it. Crypto is a threat to that system. And people switching to the euro or China or the ruble being put on a gold standard. That's all a threat to that system. And all the big names and all the big money are just screaming. Was it Kiyosaki? Was it yesterday or the day before? Gold, silver, Bitcoin, and guns was his thing. I think he's losing it a little bit. His wife, I think, is doing some better thing. I liked Rich Dad Poor Dad, but you don't go look it up. He was like screaming this stuff, and he's been screaming this stuff for a couple of years, actually, right? And I don't think it's going to melt down to this where you're fighting this. There's a lot of folks that want that. They want to use their gun, they want to have the militias, but I don't think it's going to happen that way. But will we have a meltdown financially? It depends on how you look at it, what the lens is, right? Depends what your lens is, right? What do I know? Well, I know I can buy gold-backed cryptocurrency that I can cash in Switzerland if I want to. I know how to do that. I know that some of the gold that I do own is outside the reach of my government. Yeah, I have that kind of sovereignty. So do you, right? And I believe that is out of Australia, backed by the Australian government and their gold reserves. So I don't see if you have gold delivered to you. Well, guess who can come confiscate your gold? Your government. And how do we know they do that? Because they've done it. Right? In the 20s or whatever, they made it against the law for US citizens to own gold. That got lifted in the 70s. If you didn't know that, look into it. It's crazy. We used to have gold-backed certificates where you could take your dollars to the bank and they would exchange it for the value of the gold that you had. You've heard of gold certificates, silver certificates. I think I got one or two, right? Backed by gold and silver, right? Real money, real value. What we have now is called fiat currency. It's backed by nothing. It's paper and it's printed up and rented and leased to us, and we pay interest on it to some ruling elites. Great move. Have they made the world a better place? I don't think so. I think they're caught up in fear and scarcity. People know about them. It's complicated. They created layers of systems. They're internationally diversified. And it's a cabal. Maybe, but there's nothing you and I can do about it. So why worry about it? You got to work within their system. The only thing that's a threat to that is cryptocurrency. And they didn't see it coming because the people who created this were geeks like me, super smart people, programmers, right? It's an evolution. It's kind of cool. A lot of folks don't understand it. Tell you what, a lot of wealthy people have diversified into it, but it's still only a $1 trillion market. I think the US stock market, we could ask Google, with trillions of dollars a day, right? It's just a baby. Cryptocurrency is just a baby global market that doesn't rely on openings and closing. No one has control over it. No government can cheat it. No government can defraud you. The way they cheat you is with this regulatory stuff and saying, "Oh, you're a U.S. citizen. Well, you're not a qualified investor, and so you have to have $1,000,000 and $250,000 of your income to be a qualified investor." But that's for the stock market. This is kind of more like a commodities, and that's a $10,000,000 qualification. So even though you only want to go in with free or 0 or $5, we're not going to, it's really technically against the law for any exchange in the United States to offer you leverage unless you have. And there's a special certified document that you can get from the government to fill out to declare and prove that you have $10,000,000 of liquid assets in order to get, say, 3x leverage on Ethereum tomorrow. That's our reality today. Violation of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. You don't have that problem in Dubai. You don't have that problem. We have a little bit of it in Canada. Most of Europe is free, right? Aussies, I think, are free for the most part. Malta's free. You're not. You're right up there with North Koreans and Venezuelans, I think, or maybe they got freedom now. And China, Russia kind of goes in and out. Right now, they've had a problem, so they're out, right? And Iranian citizens don't have the freedom. We're right up there with the axes of evil in terms of the fascist dominate control over little people. We're there. We've been there since before I was born because financial discrimination against you based on your financial status is discrimination, and no one's writing about it. If people understood it, they'd be marching the streets. They march in the street over mask mandates, which actually there was legal precedence for, and it makes sense. Your personal freedoms, and I know it's debatable, right? But your personal freedoms, you don't have the right to build a nuclear bomb and set it off in your garage because you have the right, Second Amendment right, to be on parity with your government. Yeah, no, right? Sounds absurd, yeah, but that's how you test a principle. You go to the absurd reality of it, and if it doesn't pass the principle test on the absurdity, it's not a good principle. So the idea that people should be able to do whatever they want if it could wipe out their community is not a freedom that any of us should have. So I'm not even going to argue about it. You don't have it, right? If you read our stuff, it's all about the commonwealth and the common welfare of the citizenship. I don't know how we don't teach that in our public training in our schools. What we don't teach we teach the word, but we don't understand what it means, right? Otherwise, we'd have never allowed the shit that has evolved over the last 50 years. We'd never have allowed it since the depression and the stock market crash. We'd never let the bankers back in. They were in the 1800s. Were literally walked out at gunpoint back to Europe, saying, "Leave. We're not doing that here," and they got back in. What a mess. But what an adventure. Depends on your lens, right? What an opportunity. That's why your lens, your mind game is so important. And really, the most important thing that I have done during the last 1 hour and 43 minutes has probably been the last 43 minutes talking about everything but what's going on here. So, anyway, oh, we're still going down. If you were on earlier today, here, quick, let's look at it real quick. I predicted this. We're gonna meander. Remember, I said it was gonna be maybe you weren't on, but I did say earlier it was gonna meander on down. The question is it gonna go down to here by morning or do a quick? I'm thinking, and it may not do this. I'm thinking that what time is it? Two. So somewhere between 6 and 7, there's gonna be like a massive. See how this massive up spike is up here? I think there's gonna be a mass. Have we seen one? We're gonna have a not a down trending, but we're gonna have one of those massive down spikes like this, and then it's gonna reverse. Is what I'm thinking. It could just continue on down to here, maybe to here in reverse. Could do either one. All right. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, because the prophets didn't tell me 4,000 years ago what's going to happen today. So I kind of have to work on how we are creating reality in the present moment. Oh, I know. That kind of makes sense, doesn't it? I don't know why we check out our. I've never bought into it, even when I was a kid. I just like, this doesn't make sense. It's got to make sense, right? I like to use Jesus as an example because he's cool. And, he was smart. He was known for, the Pharisees and Sadducees, they would bring logic problems to Jesus, and he would kick their ass with simple little metaphorical statements. He would kick their ass with logic. And are we supposed to be Christ-like from that, It wasn't dumb as a stump. No, no, it's just it 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 gets me going. I don't mean to make fun. I don't mean to offend anybody, but it's hilarious to me. But I didn't buy it. I mean, I pathed those belief systems, but I never fully bought into it starting at age 6. I just knew there was something wrong, and I figured it out about 23 years ago. Man, I'm so excited. Look at the doji. I think I predicted this would turn into a doji because earlier today it was like down here. Yeah, this is exciting. We're on the cusp of another. Is Bitcoin doing it too? Is it taking profits? Look at that spike up. How far did it go? Not quite 28. Some people didn't want to spark FOMO on the weekend. They want to do it on Monday. I'm guessing they want to buy. They want. You know what? The markets are manipulated. If I was a gambling man, I'm a gambling man. And I wouldn't put any money on this though, more than maybe $5 or $10. But I would think that they're going to want to see a nice dip over the weekend, maybe even extend it to Monday, because a lot of folks that wanted to get in the market missed this. They missed this over the last, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days. They missed this from 20,000. Holy shit. That's like from 20,000 to just under $28,000 in 7 days. Meanwhile, the United States stock market was tanking Friday. Well, this shit was going on. Oh, equity, real business, all that crap. And this just kicked their ass. Yeah, I know. I should have just took the day off and traded it all week. I should have took the week off because I saw it coming here, right there. I mean, I saw this happening. I saw this happening. I saw this cross on the daily, and I thought, oh, wow, maybe it is a bull run. You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to take like a couple $100 and put it in at 50x and just let it ride all week. That's what I forgot to do. That would have been a gamble. It would have been a great gamble. What if it didn't work out? Well, then I would have lost a couple $100. So what? I would have done that inside the one that I have to pay taxes on. I wouldn't have done it inside my Roth. Strategic. Yeah, I have a lot of fun with this stuff. All right, everybody, have a good night. This is like a whole hour longer than I want it to be. But I hope it was fun for you. And I'm gonna try to do another. I don't know if I'm gonna do it on the weekend or not. But if you need to rewatch it, please rewatch it on YouTube. I'm trying to get that monetized, but it's really not gonna matter. I might just switch over to doing to selling this information, compartmentalizing it in a training. The folks that are Patreon members will be just I got one. She does she's she already I would never charge her anyway, but she wanted to break the ice. She wanted to have that number one position. But I would, if I were to wake up tomorrow and have like 3,333 Patreon members by Monday, I would consider that a sign from all that is holy by whatever name that model was what I'm supposed to do. But come Monday, if it's just my one friend that just did it, I'm probably going to very seriously talk to that consultant that wants me to just stop doing this, take what I've done, all that work that I showed you, compartmentalize it into like probably between 4 and 8 different courses and put them up for sale starting, I think he mentioned like $2,500 a course based on what he reviewed is the value of people who are selling shit for $5,000 and $10,000 that isn't as good of what I just shared with you in the last hour and 40 minutes. And they're getting it. So for me, it's about how can I get to not having to work 40 hours a week so I can come back to doing this and have that train available. I bought my time back one way or the other, right? And I've got like 4 or 5 different revenue streams in process right now. So it's happening by the time I do my next vesting, which is in like 14 months. So that's my timeline. So no matter what happens, it's done for me. And after that, I can devote myself full time to the messaging that I've talked about in the last 50 minutes because we we were off track as a species. I personally don't think there's going to be anyone coming to bail us out of our own stupidity. I think they were warnings. And Pompeii is my warning. There were a lot of cool people in Pompeii, right? But they built a city next to an active volcano. And they're good people. They're religious people. They had altars, all that cool sort of stuff. Now, they were an interesting culture, right? And I'm sure there was at least one person there that was a good person. And you know what happened? They got wiped out because of their stupidity, right? I think our planet could become here's my fear speech. Our planet could very well become an archaeological dig for a more advanced civilization that does space travel, and they're going to say, "Wow, there was an advanced civilization here that evolved over several epochs, and man, they destroyed themselves." And here's why: they're going to find all the holy works, they're going to find someone's thumb drive, and they're going to be astonished at our stupidity. Yeah. So I'm thinking, well, I got ideas, principles, and practices and processes that disrupt that without really arguing with anybody, getting folks to think. And I'm thinking, I'm arrogant enough. I might be able to save the world. Why not? It's an idea. That's what I'm in it for. That you when you hear me talking about money, you don't see this kind of enthusiasm. So anyway, that's what trips my trigger. And I'm not the only one. People were talking about this like 1800 years ago and beyond. I keep finding myself in history, which I find weird. I find it really weird to keep finding myself in history. It's like, oh, I thought that was an original thought that I had through quiet time, prayer and meditation. I got the incense just right, right? No, just we haven't learned it. So maybe I won't be the one that teaches it to us. But got to have something to do when you retire, right? That's what I'm going to be doing. I'm retiring. I have never given up saving the world. I should have. I should have given up trying to save the world, but I didn't. All right, let's close this down. We'll do our affirmations here. Pretty cool. And, it's all about this, right? Find our way out individually as a species. Okay, so the theory there is if I can teach you how to accomplish what I've already accomplished and beyond, right? If I can help you transform your life, all areas of your life, your health, your wealth. What good is wealth without your health, right? And what good is health and wealth if you have a horrible relationship? So whether it's either getting rid of a relationship, finding a relationship, creating a new relationship, or just being at peace with not having a relationship, whatever it is, whatever the relationship thing is, right? Those three things work together that really can change your life in a good way. So when your life changes in those positive ways, everyone around you notices it. Yeah, even on Zoom, they notice. They notice you're happier. They notice you're thinner. Everyone, world's melting down around you. You're not worried about it. You start talking about stuff. They want to know. You will end up teaching what you know to help other people, at least friends, families, kids, right? But they'll come to you. You don't have to. You don't have to sell this. You don't have to preach it. You don't have to proselytize. Just you becoming successful will have an impact. So my big dream is to take that one and DETC sometime before I die and turn it into a legacy organization that teaches this stuff as an ongoing gift to help our world get out of the fear and scarcity and focused in on the prosperity. And we're in a huge planet living in a huge galaxy in a cool solar system, and we're literally going to war over natural gas. We've literally destroyed our water supply that requires filtration in order to drink water. So anyone who can't afford filtration is actually disadvantaged. Yeah, it's kind of an evil plan, very evil plan. So anyway, that's kind of my big deal, which is why I created this. I love that. So I'm not gonna do the like, subscribe thing. It's just kinda cheesy. You know what to do. And I've been sharing what I'm up to, so, feel free to reach out. I mean, nobody does. I've been doing this for 2 years. I got friends and family who know me personally, and I say, "Just reach out with questions." You know how many questions I've had in my private secret mystery school? Maybe 3 or 4 in 2 years from people who know me personally. So, if you're not reaching out with questions, I get it. Um, and they're great people. Sometimes they'll side chat me. It's just and everyone I know is a great person. And the greatest martial art is transforming your enemies into a friend. And I've had a chance to practice that at my work over the last during COVID and stuff. I had an enemy show up, and now we're friends. You're not a bad person. It's a different lens. My lens used to be destroy my enemies. Dear Lord, deliver my enemies upon my sword. I did that once, and I woke up with my voice booming. It's always my voice saying, "Go heal your enemy." And I was pissed, and it worked. Yeah, it's crazy stuff. My journey with the divine is interesting. My journey does not have to be your journey. I think that's a mistake. Just because I had something work for me doesn't mean it's going to work for you. It's your relationship with whatever is or is not out there. I've noticed that people who believe in magic, magic happens for them. Those that logically say magic doesn't work, it's not real, it's fantasy, it doesn't work for them. And quantum physics kind of revealed the observer influences things. What you believe in does have an impact, Hmm. which is why I gave up believing on a lot of fear and scary things. Because what if I'm such a powerful creator that I create what's next once I leave this physicality? Have you ever pondered that? Well, if I believe this, what's next? Is it a good thing or a bad thing? It's a burden of responsibility. And there's those words, are you not God? Are you not divine? Oh, hmm. Well, what if you are? Holy shit. That'd be a bad joke if you spent your entire lifetime and it was something as simple as like, oh, well, God is good, agape love, unlimited love. So that invalidates almost all of these other belief systems, including the history of that one. So agape love, unlimited, okay, not limited time, history, doesn't need, suddenly you end up having a filter. It's like, oh my God, I spent my whole life. Not bad. You got to trust that everything is as it's supposed to be, right? Otherwise, you go insane. Trust me, I've gone insane. Maybe I am insane. Doesn't have to be that way. I work for a living. I don't hate my job. The work I do is important work. It's a good job. It's a good work. It's a good career. It doesn't pay enough. I worked at a career where I was in the top like 2% wages, like over $100,000 a year, and I had a side business. I think I made $250,000 that one year. It wasn't enough. Why? Because we, I stopped. I'm fading. I'm turning into a ghost. It's crazy. I don't know why. I think the camera's overheating. Crazy. Anyway, you get the idea. Have a good night, everybody. I was almost going to 2 hours. I thought I could get it, but I think I'm done. What time is it anyway? Oh, it's 3 o'clock. It's almost my bedtime. So I'll go have a snack. Thanks for hanging out with me, Mr. or Ms. Twitch, or young person Twitch, or older person Twitch, whoever you are. Twitch is a cool platform. I just have to start. I have to simplify, and we'll see. We'll see what the future holds. You know how to reach me, right? All the information's there. I think Twitch cuts it off. There's like 5,000 characters worth of information that I rework every time I post one of these. Usually YouTube has them all, has all the links and everything. So go there. It helps me on YouTube because eventually if it's monetized, just tuning in will help generate revenue. So I have this fantasy of 333,333 people on Patreon at $5 a month and tuning in, and we change our world together. There's 8 billion people, so I'm only looking for 333,333. And we could do some amazing things, right? A lot of the cults are like between 20 and 40,000 people, billions of dollars, like the Bhagwan, Sri Vashnish. I remember him when I moved here when I was a young man. Anyway, yeah, his cult was only like 30,000 or something. Billions of dollars. It's crazy. People are hungry for someone to tell them what to do. I just never want to do that. It's kind of weird. I want to teach you how to do it yourself. We can be friends. We can like party and wherever this is. I think is this Venice? I think this is Venice. Anyway, that's it. Did I make it? Yeah. 2 hours. I'm not going to 3. Have a good night, everybody. We'll catch you. How many hours is it? Let's see. 8, 10 hours from now. I might, or 11 hours. I might stream a little bit more. I might not have much to talk about because I just have to set up the next bot. Until I'm back in a bot, there's not much to talk about. So, and what I really need to do is I need to go in and review these, yeah, review this like 30 hours worth of stuff I've done last week. Hopefully, YouTube is splitting it up into chapters for me already because they have AI to do that, and then I can go like create the one on infrastructure, and I can create the one on passwords, and I can create the one on let's explore what's possible, and get those down to like 15-minute trainings, right? So I've created like what 30 hours worth of content, and from that, it's probably going to take me like I don't know 1,000 man hours if I do it myself to get those into like 4 individual 15-minute trainings, and that's just the foundation piece. That's just the get started piece. That's the project that's on my heart right now. All right. Or you just go listen to it all and just take a lot of notes. But none of it's going to matter until you get going. But I think I went around and did the password thing and went over security and stuff. But anyway, uh, hit me up, join Patreon, whatever, get you access, communicate with where you're at, and then I can probably give you your next step without trying to overwhelm you. That's what I did with my friends. They came into this thing and I had already spent like I was an insane person creating hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pages of how-to information, and it was just overwhelming. It was easy for me, but it was just overwhelming for them, and so I don't wanna do that. So I'm trying this broadcasting gig thing because I can talk forever, as you've noticed, but I need to be able to what doesn't work for me is to create a script and then get it done within 15 minutes, and then, wow, I've just done my teaching session. What I found out works for me is I just take a topic, exhaust it, and go ahead and have all the segues and accept the fact that I had long COVID and it's hard for me to stay focused and blah. Be that crazy person. But within this, cut this, I'm watching myself fading in and out and it's driving me crazy. Here, let's just better if I'm just a minimized person. There we go. Um, God, so distracting. But I get the content out without having any restrictions. And then I can go back and pull out the pieces and bring them in together a much better, more fun, digestible presentation. But it takes a ton of time. I got all the tools in the world to do it. I mean, I have all the professional tools. You have no idea how much money I've spent on software and licenses and things. It's crazy expensive to even attempt to do what I'm doing and to do it without really it's about wanting to reach a broader audience. It's like people have been telling me for a decade, David, you need to publish this or you need to just get past the one-on-one consulting gig. And this is my attempt to do that. So, and I'll shout out to Dove, who's passed from brain cancer. She made me promise that I would eventually get to where I am today before I passed. So I'm finally fulfilling that promise I made to her too. I don't think I've said that before. Interesting. Yeah, that goes way back to MySpace. Anyway, I have so many stories. I drive myself batty. Have a good night, everybody.